Nashville, Tennessee, as we get you ready for round number 8 of this VOR IndyCar Series season. In the outskirts of Country Music USA sits Lebanon, Tennessee. That is where Nashville Superspeedway sits. And tonight going to be round number 8 of this IndyCar Series as we welcome you into the Nashville Indy 200. It is round number 8, as I mentioned, of the 10. 3 races to go in the season before we crown ourselves a champion. 150 laps tonight, 200 miles around this 1.33 mile D-shaped concrete oval. It is going to be an interesting race. Going to see some super speedway-like speeds with short oval corners, and it's going to be definitely a mixed bag and a different kind of race that we're going to see here this afternoon here in the VOR IndyCar Series. I am the captain. We welcome you in as we get to do our first back-to-back week of racing here in VOR in just over a couple months. You've been doing about every other week or every 2 weeks or so. And obviously after last week's race at Watkins Glen, today it is Nashville Superspeedway as we take a look on the map where we are. There it is, Nashville Superspeedway. A track that has been redone and was purchased by the Dover Motorsports crew, and they have went to work and rebuilt this track pretty much inside wise, and we got ourselves a very fun facility here to enjoy some racing about 30 miles or so southeast of the Nashville area. So qualifying is underway, and let's take a look at the point standings as we enter the race this afternoon. Julian Altena now leads after AJ Musselman did not get a chance to race at Watkins Glen, but he is second in points. Thomas Geisler there in third now, the Indy winner. Jesper Oman is there in the 4th position, and Nick Sudik there in 5th. Indy Alliance team continues to pull away, 109-point lead there over the Team Watson team. They actually hold second and third right now in the point standings for this race. Take a look at the track info for tonight. It is round number 8, as I mentioned, of 10, 14 degrees of banking in each corner. You'll see they'll use the turn 4 entrance into pit road and then all the way around to the exit of turn 2. Cameron Baustian won the only race we've had here in season 6. This is our second trip here. Pit road speed 45 miles an hour, and as I mentioned, 150 laps of racing here in 200 miles on this concrete circus. It's not a circus, it's a circuit. Hopefully it won't be a circus when it's all said and done. Should be, again, as I mentioned, a pretty good race when we get to rolling. Cars are on pit road, and this is our chance to swing on down and see the starting lineup here for the race as they hide behind the buildings. Got a small field, unfortunately, here tonight. Only 11 cars in the race, and there they all are right there. Julian Altena will be on the pole alongside Josh Tucker. Sebastian Kinder, last week's winner at Watkins Glen. He's rated a year and a half and finally goes to victory lane at the Glen. And what some considered an upset last week, Roland Roush will start in the 4th position. Sven Von Knell there in the 5th position. He'll start alongside Matthias Strauss there in 6th. Matthias Kraus and Dan Morera, they'll take row number 4, row 5, Nick Sudik and Patrick Kraus. And last but certainly not least on the grid, Thomas Geisler, the Indianapolis winner, will start in the 11th position here as we get ready for 150 laps, as I mentioned, in this Nashville Indy 200, as Julian leads them off. Of course, these cars used to run at the Speedway back in the day. Back in the 2000 era. And then, of course, when this track kind of closed down around the 2012 time period, nobody was here. And then, of course, Dover Motorsports came in, purchased the track, and kind of got it rebuilt and everything like that. And then now Dover Motorsports has sold this track in Dover Motor Speedway to the SMI group. So now it kind of opens the door for Nashville Fairgrounds, which is more on the stock car side, but that'll keep the business going here at Nashville Superspeedway. So we will see racing here into the future which I think is good news for the Nashville area. Pace car pulls off as we get ready for racing on a Saturday afternoon at Nashville. Julian Altena leads him to the green. And our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. As always, you can check them out online in the iRacing forums. They're over on Facebook, and their website is TrackCams22.com. You're going to see some pretty fast speeds out here. About 20 or 23 second laps as we see Josh Tucker and Roland Roush battling out for the second position, and Tucker's going to take it away. You are going to see some passing. You will see some multi-groove racing. It is tough to pass, by the way, here. But as I mentioned, speeds down the straightaways are almost like they're on super speedways. But the corner speed's a whole nother monster. Roush gets up in the outside wall. And that's because of the tight radius of these corners and, of course, the speedway with long straightaways here. On board with Sven Von Kannel in the 6th position, 3.5 seconds back already. Hear him downshift a gear. Kind of staying on the bottom side there, and you see the 87 of Sudik going by. There is the, there's 87 right there, and right in front of him is the 59, Matthias Kraus. Sudik gets out of the gas a little bit there. Sudik run up the top side, crosses over to the bottom here, looking to make that pass. Sudik was very disappointed last week after his race at Watkins Glen. Felt like he was, can't even think of the proper term. Obviously he was wrecked, but felt it was unfair what happened, I guess so to say. And obviously was unhappy about that and returns here this afternoon in this race. Six laps in the books, and you see Sudik putting pressure on Kraus right now. Speed's pretty close to 200 miles an hour into the corners, but then they're slowing to roughly 160, 170 miles an hour mid-corner here, so definitely a tricky one, not to mention they're racing on concrete, which, as you know, if you go over a concrete bridge in your local hometown, when you do that, you feel the joints on the straightaway, and that's, or on the straightaway, on the bridge basically, and that's what separates each piece of pavement. And just think about this concrete has those joints in them, so these guys are not on the smoothest of surfaces. Ryan with Strauss here, up to 6th gear, still downshift to 5th. Kinder behind him there, about 4.3 seconds back. Julian Altena's pulled away to a 1.9 second lead over Tucker. And you see the sun setting there in the background. Got some cloudy skies in the area, otherwise a perfect night to do some racing in a battle for the 5th position as Kraus inside of Roland Roush. You hope the 18 car doesn't have much damage on it, but the pass is made and move him up to the 6th position. As we're already 12 laps in. Now Sudik's starting to put the pressure on. Inside of the old Williams Renault paint scheme of Roush, and he takes the 6th position away, so move Sudik up one as he rolls his way up here through the field. Let's take a lap here with Sudik here, and let's see what kind of speeds. Look at that, 206 miles an hour down into turn 3 and 4. Now about 185 I saw mid-corner. Down the longer one of the straightaways here. Should get close to 210. And then you're almost slightly on the brake a little bit here. Rolling off to about a 185, downshift to 5th gear. That's how they're able to run lap speeds around here at about 200 miles an hour. Pretty close average. Thomas Geisler now putting pressure on this 18. So unfortunately rolling back is Mr. Roush there, falling back. Geisler going to put some pressure on Thomas, the winner at Indianapolis, in one of the more exciting finishes I've probably ever seen on iRacing at Indianapolis. And of course, you go from hero to zero almost in a week. The next week he gets involved in an accident and everybody's mad at him. As Geisler gets around Roush there for the 7th spot. And speaking of momentum, there is the 58, last week's winner in the Team Watson setup shop number 58, Sebastian Kinder. Seb, of course, started in the 3rd position, has fallen back to 4th, as Strauss did get by him early in this race, but he's about 6.5 seconds back. Obviously, fuel mileage-wise in this race, with this being a 200-miler, you want to try to get to lap 50. They should be able to, I would believe, with the 80% fuel. But if not, then this becomes easily a 3-stop race at that point. And, of course, as you know, pit stops in an open-wheel car can be very interesting, as strategy can play a big role in where you finish in this race, especially if it stays green. As Morera trying to get up here on the 18's gearbox and trying to make a pass here. After tonight's race, there will be 2 races left this season. As Long Beach and Pocono, actually it's Pocono and then Long Beach, will have our last of the 500-kilometer races at Pocono, and then we head to Long Beach to crown a champion for the season. They did release the Season 8 schedule for those who haven't seen that yet. Here it is. This will start in January with Homestead Miami Speedway, 200 miles there, coming up round 1. Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, January 21st, all the way down to April at the Auto Club Speedway. 12 rounds instead of 10. They boosted it back up to 12. And it should be a pretty good schedule. Road course races at the Red Bull Ring and also at Long Beach. Circuit of the Americas on there. So 3 road courses, 9 ovals. Make that 10 ovals. Or let me back it up. Make that 8 ovals. As Indianapolis, the road course, will be on the schedule, along with the oval before the 8th running of the Indy 500K. All right, Sebastian Kinder under attack as Matthias Kraus starting to put pressure on this 58. Obviously getting into that turbulent air here. Let's see if Kraus can make a move. You see Kinder kind of taking the high arcing entry into the corner, and Kraus able to get that air on his nose there, just kind of keeping his car below him. Gets a good run down the straightaway here. Let's see if he cuts to the bottom. Oh, Kinder shut the door and then hit the apron. That's going to cost him momentum. Here comes Kraus. Fantastic move of patience right there. And Kraus will move to the 4th position. But Julian Alton has pulled away as we're already hit the 1/6 length into the race here. 25 laps complete. Kinder's going to start to fall into the clutches of Thomas Geisler. You wonder if some of these guys maybe saving a little fuel, running a different map to trying to get that distance. That was one thing I was unable to do before the race, was get you an actual accurate time, or I should say length of pit stop, length of fuel distance in the cars. As off the pace as Matthias Strauss, not sure what's happened to the 8 car. Did he catch a piece of the wall? But Kraus goes by for 3rd. Let's see if I can find what happened to Strauss. Running out here all by himself. There you see the pass back behind him with Kraus getting by the Kinder car. You know, turn 4 is very welcoming to cars hitting it. Let's see if that's exactly what happened here through 3 and 4. Strauss okay there. And I believe it's going to happen on this lap. Oh, right there. Wow. He must have went to make an adjustment or something, and the car went to the wall. You wonder if you know what, and I've done this so many times, if like you get up there and you're trying to make adjustments and you're trying to do it while on a track like this, and you wonder if he tried to adjust the car and messed up as Geisler gets by Kinder for position, and Strauss obviously getting the walls, probably got some damage to fix now, so that's unfortunate. As Geisler is going to try to battle with Strauss here, Dan Barrera has gone around Roush for position. So a lot of action going on for drivers, either named Matthias or with a Ausch name in it. As Geisler works the top side and gets by Matthias Strauss. Kinder in the 58. They're trying to battle around this 8 car as he moves all the way up to the 3rd groove on this track, which kind of doesn't exist. You know, trying to make the move down the front straightaway here and should make the pass. But look at this, the 4th through 9th, all within about 3 seconds of each other here. So the battles are staying tight. But something else here, Julian Alton is going to be coming up on the Mako lap car here, Patrick Kraus. In the 88. Patrick out here just logging laps, trying to learn the IndyCar. Of course, ran at Watkins Glen, got a top 10 last week with all the argy-bargy they had. Lean down the back straightaway, just going to slide to the bottom here. Should be able to pass the 88 car with ease. And does so. And now look at this fight. You got 4 cars underneath a blanket. Strauss, Sudik, Morera, and Roush. All trying to keep the car in clean air. I stand corrected. This is Kinder, Strauss, Sudik, and Morera. We look back from the Team Watson turned 4 Racing, number 87 is Sudik. Strauss and Marrero behind him. Sudik kind of driving it like a stock car, easy in and driving hard off. That's how you're seeing these cars behind him make such a great run into the corner on him. He's getting out of the gas early. You see them kind of send it in, and he's able to get back to the throttle quicker and pull it back away, coming off the straightaway, almost making the straightaways longer by doing that. As Marrero trying to get around Strauss there. Not able to do so yet as Matthias runs that top side. Tire wear is not really playing a role at all, as most of the times have fallen off only about 1/10 to 2/10, maybe 3/10 at most for some of these cars. So for those wondering, like, hey, is tires going to play a role here? Not really so far. So don't be surprised as somebody scraped the wall up there. I don't think that was Kinder or Strauss. It might have been Kinder. But don't be surprised if you see, if we get a late caution in this race, a lot of people stay out or something like that just to keep the track position because tires are not falling. We are seeing some great racing in this pack right here. And Marrero finally a run to the inside. Oh, Strauss is up in the wall. That'll cost him the position. And looks like he might have broke the toe link in the right front. Or at least damaged it because I saw that car smash in a little bit. And he got the wall again. So he's definitely going to have some damage to fixing that 8 car. He's probably not going to be too happy about that. So 44 laps complete. And I thought I just heard somebody calling a pit stop here. So are we going to see pit stops just shy of lap 50? If so, yeah, this turns into a 3-stop race. It's Julian coming to pit road, the leader. So Julian looks like maybe applying the, and he's going to bring Tucker with him, applying the Simon Pagenaud Indianapolis theory here. Go as hard as you can. And lead as many laps as possible. As he and Tucker come to pit road, hand Matthias Kraus to lead. Four tires and fuel for both these guys. All right, so Kraus now the leader over Thomas Geisler. And here's Kinder and Sudik and Roush in the 4th position battle. So obviously with those guys short pitting, the others here need to go another 5 laps. If they can get those laps done, I think that's what Sudik is doing. He's in fuel save right now. If they can get to the lap 51 mark, then it becomes a 2-stopper for them. And at that point, Altena and Tucker really just need to go to try to balance out the 3-stopper versus the 2-stop strategy. This could become interesting when it comes to the fuel mileage. Patrick Kraus is on pit road at lap 47. Hearing more pit stops here at lap 48. Here comes Kraus to pit road. Geisler's going to come in. What about Kinder? That's Roush. Let's see. Roush is staying out of the lap, so is Sudik. So let's see. Kraus, Kinder, and Strauss all to pit road here at lap 48. So still 2 laps from the 1/3 mark in this race. I think we know who are the ones that are saving for fuel. All right, so the rest of these guys should come to pit road right now, I would say. If not, go as far as you can So then it really kind of eases the pressure off on fuel. All right, Roush is going to come to pit road. That's going to hand the lead over to Dan Morera. Look out, boys. Oh, Dirty Dan to the front. And Sudik came to pit road at the same lap here, so Morera is going to outrun them all on fuel here. And the benefit of that is he'll be able to go full tilt a little quicker. He's going to run another lap. I might check that man's fuel tank. He'll come by. He'll complete lap number 52. Julian Altina there in second, 14 seconds back. Josh Tucker, 22 back in third. And then the rest of the cars right now lap down, just waiting for this 26 car to come to pit road. And Morera calls out. He is pitting this time by. So he goes all of 53 laps, puts 3 laps in the bank now. And speed limit here, I believe, is 45 miles an hour. He'll work his way down to his pit crew. That'll hand the lead back to Julian Altina, who will have a pretty sizable lead. More tires and fuel, and there goes Dan Morera. So the field getting pretty spread out now with the pit stops happening, and Morera will work his way back onto the track. He should stay on the lead lap. Going to be pretty close here. He'll have a little bit fresher tires, which should help him stay ahead of Julian. There's Julian right there. Just put a lap on Sudik. And like I said, for Julian, this is the best strategy he can do right now. Since he is already committed to a 3-stop race, he needs to just go full Simon Pagenaud and go get this win that way. And what I mean by that, if you watched the 2018 Indy 500, Pagenaud pretty much didn't save fuel at all. He just went. His crew members were, or his crew chief and engineer were like, we got to save, we got to save. And he was like, screw all that. He went hard, and it ended up working out when he got a caution. And he ended up winning that Indy 500, of course, sweeping the whole entire month of May at Indianapolis that year. So that's what Julian's going to do. Josh Tucker's got to do the same thing, but he's 8.5 seconds back here in the second position. And then the first of the cars that pitted at lap 48, there were 3 of them, Kraus, Geisler, and Sebastian Kinder. Now, the counter, the Morera strategy, these guys here went 48 laps. They could technically save a lap or 2 on each of the next 2 runs and make it to the finish from pitting at lap 48. For Julian and for Josh, they are going to have to save nearly 3 laps each run to be able to go to the finish in this race. So that could be also another potential strategy for Julian and Josh, but that's going to cost them time, and I do not see them falling off at all. And in the first of the lap 50 cars, that is Roland Roush here. So again, there's strategies all over the board right now in this Nashville Indy 200. Appreciate you viewers watching here on this Saturday afternoon. We're on round number 8 of the IndyCar season for VOR out of 10. Well, there's Geisler. There's Roland Roush, and right behind him, Sebastian Kinder about a second back, and then Morera about a half second back. Of course, Morera's got to push right now because he's got the leader right behind him. right on board with Kinder. Last week's winner, Watkins Glen, running 6th right now. He's trying to track down the Rolling Rouse number 18 car. Everybody, of course, has the Indy roll bar and the weight jacker to work with, trying to keep the car on the free side and not have to worry about it snapping up into the wall or breaking loose. Trying to make the car handle as best as possible for their liking. There's Morera starting to approach now. Morera with the freshest tires, but as I said, I didn't really notice any fall off in him. That doesn't mean he won't have a little bit of an advantage. And of course, when you have the leader sitting right there behind you, and you've kind of got no place to go but forward here. There's the back of Morera, and there is Julian Altena. And Kinder, oh, Roush gets the wall again as Kinder gets to his inside. All this right in front of the leader. Kinder's going to go by, and there goes Morera inside. He'll make the pass. These cars knocking off laps real quickly already. 67 laps in. We're only 8 from halfway. Race just started 20 minutes ago. There goes Julian inside of Roland. Gonna put him a lap down. Like I said, for Julian, it is no holding back. You got to go full tilt. Now Tucker has knocked off a little bit of time here, down to 7.3. I think part of that is Julian being in the dirty air now in traffic. Tucker's out there in clean air right now running laps. You see Tucker's knocked it down to almost 7 seconds. There's Julian, and then let's look back here real quickly. There's Tucker out here in this clean air. So that's what's allowing him to start making up room here. As these guys are not a lap down, so they can fight. And when you have two of them battling for position, it's not going to be easy for Julian to make the pass. He's going to have to be very patient right now in this battle. Ooh, a little defensive move there maybe from Kinder. I think it was actually more him going to the high side to let Morera go by. So Dan's going to run for his life now as Kinder's going to fight for his life. Two laps from halfway as Kinder moves to the top side. See if Julian should be able to get by him. And he does on the inside, so move Altena to now 5 laps on the lead, 5 cars on the lead lap in this battle. And as I said, Morera just trying to get away. We're already halfway into the second run of this race. As Roush has now caught the 58 car, maybe a battle for position here. Wonder if Kinder realized that maybe not making his fuel number right now or something, so he's backed off. This is the closest battle in the track, and of course Sudik is right behind both of them now. So 79 laps complete. And it looks like the lead is kind of stabilized now that Julian is back out there in clean air. There he is, and you'll notice Dan Morera has stretched away. He's gotten away from the 31 car, staying on the lead lap right now. So could this be a Dan Morera victory? I've seen one victory in his career, and that was a last lap pass at Kansas in the league I used to run a couple of seasons ago. He keeps the car clean. He could fuel mileage his way to victory lane here. How much of that 3 laps he had in the bank did he burn off? That's the million-dollar question here. So just to review really quickly where we sit. Here's our pit board of the 11 cars and what lap they pitted on. You see the advantage with Morera all the way up to 53. Everybody else 44, 48, 48, or 44, 44, 48, and down to 50 a couple cars, and then 49, 47, and 46 laps. And again, you got to try to make it to 100 if you want to safely get to the end on fuel. As we have passed the halfway point, clean and green so far in this race. Once again, lap time is not really playing a role when it comes to tires. Everybody about 2/10 or so off. The fastest car time-wise on the track right now is actually Julian in the lead, but Tucker, last time by, ran a lap right there with him, a 73 to a 74, a 68 actually by Kraus. So Kraus actually was fastest that lap. But again, they tick off lap times really quickly around here. As Sudik is starting to catch Roush for the 7th spot here. Tucker's not really falling back from Alton at all, so now you start to wonder if Julian has gone into save mode a little bit. Just like I said, some of these cars have to save around a lap and a half or so of fuel, or 2 laps in this run alone. Others have about 2 laps of fuel to save the whole race, which obviously is a lot easier to do. And when you're on a track like this where you can get off the throttle, I guess the best thing you could really do is just kind of coast it in the corner and stay up in high gear to drop the revs down. There's Roush looking back at the 87 car of Sudik. I want to kind of throw out there that Sudik is struggling running 8th right now in the 11 car field, but I think there's a little method to his madness riding 8th right now, so that's why I've been kind of hesitant to say something like that. Because, yeah, Sudik is usually up towards the front. Of course, he was the runner-up in points last season. Dan Marrera up here in the 5th position as we got a pass for 2nd, and that's because Josh Tucker is coming to pit road early. Tucker, knowing that he's not going to make it on fuel on a 2-stopper, is going to go ahead and come on in and get tires and fuel, hoping that this race stays green and he can just go full out to try to get what he can get. Unless he got the wall somewhere and I just didn't see it. Four tires of fuel, and he pulls away 8.7. So obviously this is a scheduled pit stop for Tucker. He's going to try something here. He's obviously short. There's no way to go 58 laps on a tank of fuel. So he's right on the edge of going 2 laps down. There goes Marrera going by. And that's only to let these tires kind of heat up a little bit and get some temp in them. And I just heard Julian on the microphone. He is going to pit this time by. So 31 is going to come in with 55 laps to go. So you wonder if these two maybe cut the stage in half on this 3rd stop. Maybe only go to about lap 120-ish or so. That hands the lead over to Matthias Strauss. Thomas Geisler will move up to 2nd. Alton at 8.5 as he pulls away. Thomas Geisler on pit road. So is the 8 of Strauss. And you see right behind him, Matthias Kraus coming to pit road. So it's going to be very tight for these guys. Now they're going to have to go all of 54 laps on a tank of fuel. And that leaves one guy out, pretty much. I correct myself because Kinder... Yes, Kinder, Roush, and Sudik have not come to pit road yet, so those top 4 drivers, along with Sven von Kannel in the 6th place position, those guys have not come to pit road yet for their 2nd and hopefully final round of pit stops here for those guys. And as I say that, Sven comes down pit road, and here comes last week's winner, Sebastian Kinder, to pit road. And he actually took the warm-up lane on. That is definitely something you don't have to do at this track, but sometimes feel it's the safest way of doing it. And sounds like some issues on the track or something. No caution. And it might have been between Roland Roush and Sudik. See if I can find maybe what just took place there. Right, it happened before here. Here's Roush on pit road. Yeah, Sudik's right behind. Oh, wow! So Roush got out of the gas, it looks like it. Sudik ran him over. And obviously he's got a broken car. And Dan Marrera coming to pit road now. That's very interesting. Let's watch again. All right, he's already on pit road, so once again I got the timing wrong. Here we go. That broke the right front of Sudik. But yeah, that was very weird that Roush got out of the gas. I don't know. Very interesting. But neither driver happy about it. So back to Julian Altina now leading this race by 6.5 over Matthias Kraus, who takes the second position now. Josh Tucker is third, Thomas Geisler fourth, and they just saw Dan Marrera leave pit road, is now a lap down in the 26. So he'll obviously be faster than Altina, so he's going to try to get as much as he can now. He's got roughly 4 laps in the bank of fuel here, so he can pretty much go full tilt. And he's going to need to go full tilt here. Looking at the right front is Sudik. I see the wing pop back on there, so must not have too much damage on that 87. Not as much as Roush, who's still on pit road after that contact. So Altina leads by 5.1 seconds now over Matthias Kraus. So Altina all of a sudden is slowing down. Hate to break it to him, it might be a little too late to save fuel. Josh Tucker, third position, 8.1 seconds back. Thomas Geisler now in fourth, about 20 seconds back. And then, obviously, Dan Marrera, the first car lap down now, fifth position. As we take a peek real quickly at the schedule for this season, we showed you last season's or next season's schedule. Our next race will be in 2 weeks on October 22nd from Pocono Raceway, another 500-kilometer race. And then we'll finish up in the first weekend of November at Long Beach, the final race of the season. Now, of course, there are 3 drop races. And actually, being the guy that puts the points in after each race, I will institute all 3 drops today after this race. So what that means is basically your worst 3 finishes, if it's missed races, if it's whatever, will be added into the schedule. And we'll see where the points lie after that. think it's going to make things kind of interesting, needless to say. But Pocono in 2 weeks. All right, so Julian is pulled back away from Herrera a little bit here. I wonder if it kind of clicked in his head to, hey, maybe I might have not won this race now, trying to go full tilt. When he sees when some of these guys did come to pit road and that kind of thing. So, question is, can anybody who pitted close to 50 make it on fuel? And if somebody like, say, Matthias Kraus, who pitted at lap 96, or Thomas Geisler at 95, if they can find a way to do 54 or 55 laps on fuel, then more power to them. But the only two people that went to lap 102 on fuel were Sudik and Morera. So if I'm in that case, if I'm Sudik, I'm doing everything I can to try to get to Morera. And as I look at that, it is roughly 8 seconds from the 87 up to the 26 right now. There's Morera going into turn number 3, and Sudik is coming out of turn 2 right now. So that's how far distance it is separated out between those cars. That could be the eventual battle for the win here. Julian coming back into some more lap traffic. Thomas Geisler going to be the first one he comes up on, the Indy winner. Laps to go, and you're seeing how tough it is to make a pass. As now as Julian gets into this dirty air, you see Kraus is knocked off about 3/4 of a second. You see the 26 and Morera has now caught the 31. I appreciate everybody watching this afternoon here on the Captain Esports Network, or if you're watching over on the VOR YouTube page, appreciate you guys over there. If you want to hit the subscribe button, you can do so. Also the Twitch and Facebook and Twitter pages of the Captain Esports Network. Of course, a little bit of a partnership between the two, streaming on 4 different, make that 5 different websites, if you will, and apps. Look back from Geisler back to Julian, who really hasn't been able to make the move up to the 31. Geisler in the 4th position, holding off the 31 as we now roll to Morera, who's right behind the leader, trying to unlap himself. And you can hear him kind of pedaling it a little bit. Just being patient. He knows this race might be about to fall into his hands. And look at this, as Matthias Kraus has now put the pressure on. And with all the dirty air and stuff, Kraus down to 1.8 seconds for the lead. I think Julian has realized he is in a really tight box now. And a race that has gone completely caution-free. Not without incident. We did have one little argy-bargy there a few minutes ago, but otherwise we have been clean and green all the way. Unfortunately, not the biggest field, but that's something hopefully we can work on for the future and get some of the cars back on track. I know today is the iRacing Petite Le Mans, which probably isn't helping things. I'm really surprised if Julian is really just kind of riding behind Geisler trying to save fuel. I'm really surprised that he's decided to do this at this point. I would think that his only window was to go as hard as he can and get whatever finish he could. I mean, the worst he's likely going to finish if he were to just run this thing as hard as he could would likely be like 3rd or 4th. And the best obviously would be for something to happen to Morera, but he would likely finish 2nd at that point. As Tucker comes to pit road here, so Josh is realizing what has gone wrong for him, at least strategy-wise. He's going to go ahead and come in and get tires and fuel, and I would say for him, he'll probably finish 5th or so, 4th or 5th, which still isn't terrible. Yeah, you want to win this race, but at least make the best of a bad strategy, so to say. 7.8 is he had to take less fuel there, obviously. And here's a battle for 3rd. Geisler going to lose the spot to Morera. And here comes Kraus right behind him as Julian Altena got around him. So Julian's going to try to get away now. So 132 in the books right now, 94 was the last pit stop. So about 12 more laps Julian can go, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go that far. If you're just joining us, don't mind that there are 2 cars on the lead lap. That is going to change here very shortly. Basically, Julian Altena in the 31 car and Josh Tucker went as full tilt as possible to try to make this a 3-stop race to the finish. Tucker's already made his pit stop, and Altena's got to come in. And then from there, it's a matter of who can save enough to get to the 150 mark on a 2-stopper. As Matthias Strauss is blinking a little bit there right in front of the leader. Is now Kinder inside of Geisler for position. He'll take it. And Sudik almost gets into Geisler. They got a little history after last week at Watkins Glen. It looks like the pass is going to be made clean there. So I wonder if some of these cars maybe thought that there could be some cautions. I mean, when they were here in the 6th season, there were some cautions. Not that I wasn't one of them. But, you know, we had a small field like this in that race. So you wonder if people expected there to be a wreck or two. And there's really only been that one contact between Roush and Sudik. There are a couple cars that have hit the wall, but nothing terrible that brings out an iRacing caution. 12 laps to go for Julian. And he's extended that lead to 3 seconds over Kraus. And then it's Morera, who right now is sitting in the catbird seat. This might be a Dan Morera win and waiting. Ten laps to go in this Nashville Indy 200. And Julian is calling down. He's coming to pit road right here. Gonna probably short fill and get as much as he can in this car now. And that'll hand the lead over to Kraus. And can Kraus go the distance? Now, here's an interesting Matthias strategy if he could pull this off. He's still got to go 4 extra laps. He has to go 54 to pit now, or 54 laps to make it to the finish here. He has got a whole entire lap on Dan Morera. So he could technically back this car up speed-wise, slow it down, and trying to save as much, even if you have to go into map 8 and just don't run it wide open so you blow the motor up. As Alton at 4.1 seconds off pit road, then he might be able to save enough in this short run to get there. But there's Morera right here just in front of him. Sebastian Kinder to 3rd. Sudik to 4th, and then Julian fills into 5th position now. And Kraus comes to pit road. I am, in a way, sort of shocked. I am by far not calling these drivers dumb or anything like that, but I'm very surprised that some of these guys didn't look over and see, hey, I'm going this far in a tank of fuel. This is what I need to do to make it a 2-stop race to make it to the finish. I have to fully expect, as they entered this race, they expected this to be a 2-stop or a caution race and only have to do 2 stops, and that has been not what has happened. We've gone caution-free, and now 6 laps to go for Dan Morera. 4D racewear. Oh, there is going to be a party if he wins this race. And Sebastian Kinder is going to give up 4th and come to pit road. Now, again, I have not fully put the stats in yet. I'm working on Season 1 and Season 2. But I will just put it like this. As I look at the numbers here. I'm looking for Dan Morera's name. I don't even see it. I know he's made... I'll have to check. It says this is Dan Morera's 12th start, but of course, like I said, Season 1 and Season 2 got to be loaded in, so it might be a little bit more than that. But this would be his first career win in this series in 3 laps. 2 to go. Just a little over a lap of Talladega left pretty much. 2.66 miles. Except in Nashville. As he comes off turn 4, white flag, final lap for Morera. Sudik about 7.6 seconds back. He can pretty much coast it to the checkered flag now. It's going to be a win that he will not forget. Win number 1 at Nashville. Dan Morera with the upset. He outfuels everyone. Sudik second, Altona third. Kraus and Tucker finish 4th and 5th. Dan, you can slow down now. You ran an extra lap for bonus. A very popular win for a guy that likes to have his fun, but you know what? One of the nicest guys you could talk to. And easily one of the most likable guys, one of the cleanest drivers you'll ever get on a racetrack with is right there, Dan Morera. And he goes to victory lane for the first time. I want to see him burn it down. And for Dan, he becomes the 6th winner so far this season. Come on, Dan, light it up, buddy. Let's take a look at the final results as we wait. As Morera wins it by 7.5 over Sudik. Julian Altona, as I mentioned, he's probably going to be upset finishing 3rd. Matthias Kraus 4th. And Tucker finishing 5th. Thomas Geisler finishes 6th. With Sebastian Kinder 7th. Sven von Kanellen 8th. Matthias Strauss 9th. And Patrick Kraus finishing 10th. And Roland Roush. Hey, those Roushes did not have a good run. And he had 9th, 10th, and 11th. Oh, rough run for those guys, as unfortunately some things happened there at the end of the races. Dan apparently is going to sit there and do whatever Dan does in his car. And we're going to talk to drivers. Matter of fact, he's the only one in here right now. So let's jump into the lobby and talk to the man. He actually just went to another chat. I got to go find him. Oh, he's up there. You know what? Julian probably moved him on me. Typical Julian move right there. As let's get Dan Morera into the booth here, my man. Welcome to Victory Lane. I feel like you and I have done this before.
When I used to run your league.
That's the only time, man. Kansas. I couldn't help but think the last lap hash you made to win the race at Kansas. And here tonight, I'm sitting here as you go like 50 laps on field. I'm like, okay, does this field not realize that they might have just handed the race to Dan Morera if it goes caution free?
I was kind of surprised when I was getting to the first stop. I was talking to Julian about our fuel mileage, and he told me, well, I got like 4 laps to go, and I was like, well, I have like 17, so what's going on here?
Hey, a little bit of fuel math there. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So hey, okay, do I really want to ask this question? Yeah, I'm going to. What kind of feelings are we having right now? What kind of thoughts after that?
Other than the obvious. No, I'm really happy. It's been a long time coming. I know people look at me as a seat filler, but in all those I do okay. I usually try to kind of help the teammates and stay out of trouble. If I get a good finish, good. Um, for some reason, people, I don't know why they forgot about fuel strategy on this one. Uh, from the very beginning, I figured, well, let's do map 3, stay in the draft, don't go a lap down, or stay pretty close to it, and you'll be fine. You
Mhm.
can probably get a top 5. But they caught up to me, the lead cars. I figured, well, they're not saving at all. So they may have to do the extra stop. So I may be safe, for a top 5 or something like that. Uh, so I kept to my strategy. I worked with Julian also because he needed, as teammates, we needed to work together. But in the end, well, things just, it worked. It worked. I had the pace in the end. I was
Right.
fast. I was catching cars. It's not like I was just crawling. When I needed to push, I pushed. The pit stops were clean. So everything worked out perfect.
I noticed tire fall off didn't really exist. I noticed like later on in the run, towards the end of the race, tires only fell off about 3 to 4 tenths by the end of a run. Was that something you kind of noticed, and did that help? Obviously, execute the fuel strategy, knowing that the guys when they took fresher tires really weren't catching you that fast.
If anything, I was faster on older tires because since I was saving, I had really good tires in
Right.
the end. I could push. I went to map 1, and you can see my lap times first. They were probably as good. Uh, I noticed some people that started to drop. I think they started figuring out that the fuel was going to be tight. So that probably have more to do than lap degradation, than tire degradation.
Well, it worked out, man. Welcome to Victory Lane at VOR, and I don't have the accurate amount of starts, but it looks like it's about somewhere in your 12th to 15th start range to get your first career win here in a fuel mileage battle at Nashville Super Speedway. Have you ever played a guitar before?
I know, but I got a base here.
Well, look out. It's all about the bass. Well, now you get a guitar, too, technically. I don't know how Julian's going to mail it, but he'll figure it out. But congratulations on that, and send some shout out to whoever you like to, bud.
Yeah, I'm gonna thank Let's Race, our sponsor, for the races. VOR, Altena Motorsports. I want to thank you especially because you've always been nice to me, and your broadcasts are always fun and right on point. I love the thing you did about the highlights from the race. I hope I show up a lot on the one for this week. Get some camera time. But yeah, again, Let's Race, VOR, Altena Motorsports, you and Julian for giving me the opportunity to hang out with you guys and learn a lot from the faster guys. I cannot do this without the help of the people who actually know what they're doing.
That's none of us.
Definitely not me. And as you noticed, I kept it PG-13 this
Yes,
time.
well done, sir. Yes, I was scared of this, but in all
But I'm using
fairness,
the microphone.
go ahead.
I'm using the microphone like Chris. You are the one. Nice guy.
Well, just know that the treehouse, personal joke between him and I, the treehouse knows about your win.
Hey, cool.
All right, buddy. Nice job.
See ya.
You too.
Go and
Dan,
watch the broadcast.
attaboy. Dan Marrero is not a field filler, by the way. He's a winner in this series, and he definitely is one of the cleanest drivers you'll ever race around in an open wheel car. So I give him that 100%. He's not. He's well. That's true. That's a whole nother story for another day. All right, Dan Marrero wins the race, and let's bring in Sudik for finishing second. Nick, obviously a second place finish for you. Obviously I got to go back. I heard you yell out 4 words that really caught me off guard, and I had to go back and look. Obviously some contact with Roland. How much did that hurt the car, if any?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. First off, it didn't affect it at all.
Good.
So
Okay.
there was definitely net code in between. I don't know why he lifted so heavy. Like we were just chilling together, and then I'm like, okay, well if he's gonna go on a pit lane, he's gonna go low. That's the only thing I could think of is he was like gonna do like a wide arc in, but that's just something you don't do.
Was
With
it
the VMAX differential or the velocity differential between us was like 20, 30 miles an hour.
Was it a possibility he was letting you go maybe so that you could pit?
Yeah, there's no communication for that.
Yeah.
I feel bad for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna try to get the track position anyways, but like he hesitated down a little bit and then like I don't know if it was like netcode stuff and correction, but then he like jolted a bit, and then he just started slowing the hell down, like he almost hit the brakes.
Right.
Like that's how quick it was. So like I tried my best to get out of the way. I feel terrible because we were working really well together, but at the same time, it's just like I I I was just puzzled, and I don't like calling drivers out like that, and I don't mean to do that in a standards kind of manner, but if I don't know what could have what else could have been done. I'm usually a pretty clean driver. I've had a couple incidents myself. Everybody has, but like, yeah, it didn't affect my car. Unfortunately, it took him out of the race because he was on a near same strat as me and Dan. But I still I feel bad, but I genuinely, I even in comms was like, what was that? What were you doing? Like I just genuinely did not know. So, that being said, he was running well, and I always take incidents like that to heart. So
Understood. Well, obviously, it was still a great run. Still got second place finish out of it. Obviously, the car wasn't damaged, so obviously, then with a little bit of contact, you still had your distance back to Dan. Did you feel like you could have caught him if that doesn't happen or anything, or do you feel like that it was just you would, with your strategy, you felt maybe you were the guy, you felt you could win this race and not realize Dan could go further?
now I gave up a little too much time early on.
Okay.
Yeah, it would have been a hard, like I had no laps left of fuel. I I was trying to figure it out, and it's a little weird because I'm a lap down, so my fuel calculator is actually like pinging for the next lap
Right.
after. So I had to add like a liter and change into it, and then I I knew he was gone. I actually made some pretty bad contact early on in the race too, so I might have had some little side pod damage. Didn't feel like it, but that's kind of like nursing the car after that.
Mhm.
Kind of made me lose that gap. But
The only
yeah.
thing I saw, when the contact happened was your front wing, but it came back and popped into place.
Weird. Oh yeah. I don't know.
But
iRacing netcode moment, I guess. But no, all in all, Dan was lights out with like the perfect balance of being able to push when he needed to through traffic. I was a bit more conservative, kind of like taking like a calculated approach of thinking about the championship and whatnot.
Mhm.
But yeah, I also want to like kind of apologize to Josh Tucker, to my quasi teammate from TWR. He kind of got awkwardly behind us while he was pushing with Julian and Matthias, and it was just weird because we were giving him dirty air, but I don't know. It was just a weird race. It's just a weird race. Um, it's definitely going to be in my memory for a while, that's for sure. But P2, I'll take it.
Well, you know what? With what I was going to say, with some of the season moments you've had, I would say this has got to be the kind of finish you expected to have.
Yeah, it's a good bounce back from last week. That seriously gutted me. I actually got couldn't hear it on the broadcast, but I got a reprimand from Julian, the league owner, after the race, just for kind of popping off on Thomas
How'd I
about
miss
that.
this?
And yeah, it was in private messages,
Oh,
but
okay.
I want to kind of clear the air. There's like no bad blood between us. I don't know. I just haven't had a lot of luck this year, but it's kind of swinging my way a little bit. So, keep moving, forward, I guess, and keep pushing. That's about it.
Well, send some shout outs if you like to, bud.
Yeah, Team Watson Racing, Seb here for helping me out a lot with hitting my number. Josh, obviously, Strauss as well. Shut up, everybody else there. Ohio DDR community and rhythm game community in Ohio. Of course, Arcade Monsters in Florida. Again, keep your thoughts with everybody in Florida that's been
Mhm.
affected by the hurricane, and it's going to take them months to recover from that, even inland. Couple friends in the Orlando area, just I know like through various mediums have been affected, and they're still being affected. So, if you have any opportunity, money's tough, but research the charities, donate to the charities. Even just if you have time, God forbid, just go down there and help out a little bit if you have free time, if you're close. It's um, it's something we all need to kind of come together for.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, my partner Kelsey too, who's actually bathing in the California sun right now, so I'm jealous. And and I think that's it. Oh, my boys at Turn 4 Racing as well. To Cam, I miss you. Come back to race soon, please.
There you go. Well, great job, man, and you're well said on the Florida stuff. I've been a part of my share of hurricanes. They suck, purely.
Yeah.
Let's just put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, congratulations. Words well said there. And we will see you in 2 weeks at Pocono.
All right. Thank you very much.
You too, bye. That is Nicholas Sudik, the second place finisher tonight. Obviously, much like I do, wears his emotions on his sleeve, and I do not blame him for that. I don't blame anyone for that, because sometimes I feel like you just got to let your emotions out. Speaking of emotions, Mr. Julian, finishing in third. He's been hibernating in this channel, and I got to say, sometimes, I know I'm not one that might be one you want to
Why do you sound so disappointed?
I'm trying to think of how to word this. One of how to give advice to people. But I can think of plenty of times in the last few weeks I've used a quote from Craig Forsyth when he once told me, and I'd never thought about it this until he said it to me, and I'm like, it totally makes sense. And tonight was the perfect example of it. He said that from the time the green flag falls, every open wheel race is a fuel mileage race. And you went straight Simon Pagenaud out here on this field and finished third.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, all right. No, seriously, but I'm just gonna recap my race here. Was pretty good. Was happy with the pace. Qualified, I think 2.5 tenths clear with the field, so that was good. First stint, was expecting a yellow in the beginning, which is why I didn't save fuel.
That's what I thought. Mm-hmm.
Yep, but I thought when I was going to save on the second and third stint, because I knew it was going to be a two-stopper probably, that if I saved then I would be able to make it to the end, but it turns out my numbers were incorrect on the dash, so I had to make a splash of fuel there. I really did try to save it at the end to make it, and kind of sputter across the line, but it didn't work, so I had to pit for that fuel. And yeah, luckily the win fell in the hands of a teammate of mine, so I'm happy about that. I only lost 1 point to Sadiq in the championship, which is not too bad at all. Finished third, only scored 1 less point than him with all the bonus points from Paul,
Right.
leading the most laps, leading a lap and all of that stuff. So doesn't really matter too much to me. I'm happy for Dan.
Good.
And he's definitely not a field filler, of course. Just been a long time coming for him, so I'm really proud and happy for him. And hopefully for him, he can have many more. And yeah, for myself, it's another win that got away, but still really good points in the championship, which is really my main thought process with the final few races. So losing a win, I'm not really going to be too bothered about that.
Right.
So yeah, that's really all of that. I want to thank everybody for the good racing out there. We had 9 lead changes across 4 drivers,
Nice.
and the race had strategy for everybody. So I think it was a really good race in general.
Yeah, compared
Not
to
too
season
much
6.
passing, but you don't need that to have a good race.
Compared to season 6, it was definitely a lot better than season 6 was. But no, actually, we did see our share of passing out there. A lot of different strategies, as I mentioned, and that kind of thing. When did you realize though that okay, I got a problem fuel wise here? Was it? And I kind of felt it might have been once you got behind Geisler, and you had Dan right there behind you, and Kraus started catching you from like 8 seconds back. And you were kind of sitting there for a second, and I'm like, I wonder if right now he's figuring out, oh, I've got a problem on fuel.
No, I was saving the last two stints, like I said. I just
Mhm.
realized with 30 laps to go, I couldn't make it. Then I got a little hope again when I got behind Geisler, so I started saving again, but the damage was done in that.
Gotcha.
I had to save like, what was it, 6 liters or 6 laps of fuel. So either way, it wasn't really possible to make those numbers with the numbers I was already making. So yeah, I should have saved earlier, like I said. I thought it would be good enough to save the final two stints,
Mhm.
but I should have saved all race. It turns out in the end. But yeah, like I said, congrats to Dan. Great race for him. Good points for myself in the championship. I think the lead is like 30 points now, so that's all that matters for me. Hopefully, I can make it a third championship after the first 2 seasons, and well, hopefully this one.
There you go. Well, great job, man. Send some shout outs over like to.
Yeah, of course, the Let's Race on the car. Really forgot to mention them all season, which is really bad on my part. But yeah, Joshua Tucker, I know they're with Team Watson Racing, but Joshua's been supporting VOR as a league a lot as well, sponsoring the last 3 races. And he's also stepped into a failed project that we had, unfortunately, but he also wanted to sponsor that. So really want to thank him and Kevin from Let's Race for doing that and putting in some money into the league. I really appreciate that. And of course, to you for broadcasting as well this season, and all the drivers for putting on a good show. And yeah, that's about everything. So yeah.
There you go.
Also, a big shout out to my girlfriend. She's in my room here. She's sitting on my bed on the laptop, probably playing Minecraft.
You couldn't
or
even turn to
something.
her to use fuel mileage?
I could have, yeah, but I did have her practice yesterday actually, to
She's
turn
fine.
some laps at Nashville. She
Oh.
didn't do too well, but at least she kept it out of the wall for 6 laps. So
Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
proud of her for that. But
Progress.
yeah, I don't know. I might use a race engineer next time around.
Well, anyways, man, great job. We'll keep working at it. I know the attendance wasn't the best today, but you know, we'll get together and talk a little bit and figure some things out and whatever I can help with. So we'll go from there. Enjoy. Keep on clicking on whatever you're clicking on, and we will go from there. And we'll see you in Pocono in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's not me clicking.
I hear something
That's, see
clicking.
you in 2 weeks. Yeah, no, that's her playing Minecraft. Yeah.
Oh, that
All right,
makes
well,
sense.
I'm gonna
Clicking
go.
Minecraft. It don't get the bomb. Anyways, all right, talk soon.
Yes.
All right, buddy.
See you, man. Bye bye.
Yes, yeah, Julian Altina and his girlfriend hanging out, finishing 3rd. Interesting. I wonder what kind of. So he was probably using the iRacing fuel, it sounds like. But, man, it is what it is, man. Congratulations to Dan, and good job with the Altina Auto Sports team for getting the win this evening here at Nashville. As I mentioned, we'll be on in 2 weeks from Pocono Raceway, virtually on iRacing, ready to rock and roll Saturday, 3 p.m. That, of course, is the 22nd of October. So should be a pretty fun race there from the Tricky Triangle. So we head out and we go from there. So enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon. We'll be back on the air on the Captain eSports Network tomorrow night for the Sim 500 Truck Series from Auto Club Speedway. So that should be a pretty fun race there. And always remember, this isn't just a game, it's iRacing. See ya!
And now the wait is over. The nerves have taken their toll. Oh. Let go.